This is Frederick Chopin's Prelude in E minor, Opus 28, number 4.
So again, good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalists of the Chester River. We come together here to explore our unique spiritual journeys and learn from each other. I hope that you will find words of wisdom and supportive friends today. Welcome friends and members here that are in the sanctuary, and also those of you that are on Zoom. Welcome, Michael Casey. Thank you for sharing your music with us every week. We love it. And welcome and thank you to our very own Reverend Catherine. We're so happy to have her with us. Let us go to the chalice lighting words in your order of service and share these together. This chalice for love. May the love for others be strong in our hearts. And now, if you will rise as you are willing and able, we're going to sing hymn number 354, We Laugh, We Cry. And it's a longer hymn, so we are going to sing verses 1, 3, and 4. We'll skip 2. All right.
Thank you.
I've gotten a little out of order, but I do have some announcements for us. I actually have a pretty good list. So let me take care of that before we move on. One is that daylight savings time is coming up. Darn it. That's next Sunday, so remember to spring your clocks forward for next Sunday. Darn it. Are you glad or not glad? Oh, well, you made it here on time, though. Secondly, we need a coffee host for next week. If you can't help next week, there are lots of openings for coffee host, greeter, and potluck host. So you can see that sign-up sheet in the lobby. March 20th, coming up, is our sock burning. I want to remind everybody of that. It's a lovely time, and this year it is going to be at Eileen and Jones' house. Yay. So that'll be lovely. And try to remember to bring only cotton socks, because the others produce a very terrible chemical odor. This week, no office hours for Catherine on Thursday. She will be available. She just won't be in the building. So if you need her, give her a text or a call. And then I also want to remind you, on March 21st is the auction, and there's going to be a hard copy posting in the lobby after the service today. Catalog. Right, of the catalog. That's what I meant to say. All right, yes. Oh, do you want to say something? Okay.
So we're at 75% of our goal, up from 64 last week. Some of you have gotten calls and emails from Jackie reminding you that if you've lost your form, we have some here. She can email them to you, but we would like to try to wrap them up this week, and next week will be the stragglers. So as my comments this week, I want to remind us all what this physical building can be for us. It's a place of peace and quiet. We start out with meditations to calm us down. Catherine gives us a meditation sort of in the middle to quiet us down even more. So it's a place where we can come and take a deep breath and relax. It's a place where we sing. There are lots of discussion groups around, some during the week, some in other places in the country. But here we get together to sing. And they've found out that scientifically, singing vibrates your chest. It's good for depression. It's good for dementia. So getting here and singing and belting out is also something that we get from this church. Defensive singing. Well, it's for them, for their own chest. It feels good. It's also a place of support. As you all know, there are times in our lives where we need that support, whether we get it here and in our cares and concerns, or whether it's on an individual basis in a card we get when we're sick or friends or family have passed. It's a place of non-judgment, and I really feel this strongly. And we've had testimonials from people who said in their past, their churches were not non-judgmental. And they come here and they stay here because of the acceptance of what they believe in. It's also a place where our values are supported. And the principles that this church and this congregation and the faith in general have are strong ones. And we don't just talk them. We live them and we do them and we act them out. And lastly, it's a place of beauty. We have beautiful artwork in here. We have this wonderful stained glass window. And we're also going to be making some more changes, hopefully, to sort of brighten us up and give more color to the sanctuary. So it is a place of beauty for all of us. So those are some of the reasons why we want to keep this physical church here. And that's not easy. I'm part of the Building and Grounds Committee, and there's a lot going on. The new roof was a lot worse shape than we thought. So there's an investment in that. We're putting on solar, that's pretty cool. Living our values, going to help our electricity bills. The landscaping, lots of changes going on to keep our church beautiful and our grounds beautiful, and make it a more welcoming place for the community outside of us. Make it a place where people in the community say, oh, maybe it'll be nice to do something in that church. We've never been in here. And so we get the high school band, we get the National Music Festival, we get other groups coming in here because we're a place where it's warm and friendly and bright. So I encourage you to put your pledge in this week. If you forgot your form, we'll get you one. So that can't really be a reason why you don't do it. Thank you.
So, and Catherine set up Catherine perfectly, because part of our welcoming, and our space is getting a lot of use, which by the way is beautiful. So please, I'll put in the plug for Darlene, use the calendar, so that we don't accidentally double book ourselves. Even as full as we are today, and wonderful seeing all our friends online, please note this front row of chairs. It's empty. And we've had an RE challenge, right? Don't have standing population of young people, and people were preparing services for RE. And that's actually not the best model. The best model is bring them all in. So one of the things the RE people and I are working on, and I want to make sure everyone who has an opinion has a chance to participate with us, is a cart over here that would have RE stuff. And if there are children, we can give up this row of chairs here that nobody wants to sit in anyway, or maybe leave 2 for parents and a space here. The details are what we're inviting that conversation to be about. So if this matters to you, and if you come in and this is going to be changed and that's going to be something you want to voice in, let me know. We're starting those conversations, building what the cart would look like, building what this would look like. This is your invitation.
Don't think I missed any announcements. Okay. So I have some opening words for us this morning, and I often claim that I'm not really someone who reads poetry, but I've realized that may be changing about me lately, and one of my favorite poets is Mary Oliver, as I know many people in here feel the same. So I have some opening words from Mary Oliver this morning to help us get into the theme of our morning talks. And she says, to live in the world, you must be able to do 3 things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes to let it go, let it go.
So for our time for centering, I'm going to share some words, and then I'm going to invite us to sing together Spirit of Life, because we're going to be talking about mortality. And as I go through the day today, through the rest of the service, I hope it comes away really clearly that dying is part of living. And so I want us to start from the Spirit of Life. So let us take a breath together. We are here, aware, and sharing this moment. We are here in this time of profound upheaval, and we have full lives with our joys and our suffering. And as a community, many have health challenges or illnesses or injuries, and we have had several in our community die. Other members have left the community when their partners died. Each of these events can bring to mind our own mortality, as well as cause grief. And as a community, as well as individuals, we hold those griefs and loss, inviting us back to that beautiful poem, to love what is mortal, and when the time comes, to let it go. Grief is a powerful emotion and part of our humanity. Franchised grief, that is shared and held in community and supported, leads to feeling our loss, clarifying what is loved, and eventually our healing and growth to new life. Disenfranchised grief, grief that is not acknowledged, can get stuck in our bodies and keep some of our vital energy trapped in suffering. And fear is similar. I offer this moment for us to call out to the community or whisper quietly to yourself or text if you're in our Zoom chat, anyone or anything that you are grieving. I'll start. I am grieving a sense of stability in the world, that I can wake up and not have another disaster, a confidence that the future will be better, and health. I'm holding those griefs. The grief that none of us have enough time to grieve before the next thing comes.
Just grief for all the innocent people who are suffering and losing their lives.
Decision. The grief for all the innocent people who are suffering and losing their lives because of bad people in power. David, anything in the chat? No? Okay. Then we'll take another deep breath together.
MQ says about the loss of liberty and respect for everyone. Did you believe that?
A grief of the loss of liberty and respect for everyone. So let us take a deep breath together. Now, these griefs have been shared, and if you whispered one to yourself because it's too tender to share, know we hold that with you too. I invite us to hold what each of us have been grieving as we sing together hymn 123, Spirit of Life. May our days be filled with reverence for the Spirit of life, for joy for the moments we live, and the love in a community that will hold us in peace at the end of our lives.
May we remember those who have spoken this morning and those they have named, and the joys and concerns that they have named, and those that we hold in our hearts quietly. Let us have a moment of silence. Okay. So we're going to move into our offering, but before we actually take our offering this morning, we are going to hear from Sandy Zappia. She is from the organization Sandy's Garden, and our Social Justice Committee has brought her here this morning. Our offering this morning, other than your normal pledges that you put in, will go to her organization, and she's going to share with us a little bit about that, what it is.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to your beautiful space here. After service, we'll have, I'll just give an overview of what we do at Sandy's Garden, but basically it's just a nonprofit garden where everything we grow, we donate to the food pantries here in Kent County. So I look forward to meeting you. Thank you.
And what a great thing for our food pantries to have fresh fruits and vegetables. It's unusual sometimes. Ooh.
This is I'll fly away. I'll fly away.
Thank you all for the many gifts that you share with us and for these today that will go to our good works. And now, Reverend Catherine.
I'm going to start with a reading from my colleague, Reverend Karen G. Johnston. Don't fear your mortality, because it is this very mortality that gives meaning and depth and poignancy to all the days that will be granted to you, which is a quote from Paul Tsongas. She starts with, how much notice would I want ahead of time before I die? Is it 6 minutes, 6 days, 6 months? There are wise ones who say not to waste your energy on things we cannot know or change. Yet this set of hypothetical questions has been an evocative way for me to discern what's most meaningful in my life. All things being equal, given my current state of affairs and the current condition of my body, mind, which time frame terrifies me the most? Which one the least? What possibility do I sense in each of them? In a class that she leads, where we engage in these questions, our conversations are juicy. When participants share their reasons, it invites further reflection for all of us. Is 6 hours enough time to say goodbye? Maybe. Is 6 months enough to do the things you've been putting off? It depends. Is 6 days enough to put your end-of-life papers in order? I promise it's not. Start now. It's a gift to those you love who will survive you. It's worth facing whatever distaste or fear, truly. How much time do any of us need to finish our business in this life? Maybe that's the wrong question. Since we all leave unfinished business, whether we die too soon or right on time, whatever that means, perhaps a better question is, how do we embrace the fact of our mortality, not as an obstacle to finishing business or as a source of beer that sours our life, but as an ever-present companion, giving our living days a deeper sense of meaning, depth, and poignancy. It is engaging that question over and over that is the meaningful work of being alive. It is living into that question, be it in solitude or in community, or a combination of both, that gives us the best chance to making precious and perhaps even sacred the business to which we would attend. So ends the reading. So this sermon is titled, "What Does a Good Death Mean?" And confession, I usually only title sermons because people ask for them. However, for this one, it's important. First, it invites us to acknowledge that there is such a thing as a good death, rather than chasing this illusion that our society propagates of immortality, and somehow it is wrong to die. Our ancestors had cultural guides to a good death. Hospice and palliative care providers focus on the relief of suffering and help people live for now, rather than suffer for now to get more time. I offer that a good death enables us to live for now all the way to the end, whenever that may come. To help us face mortality, sometimes I wonder, what would we lose if we had immortality? I've come to believe that we would lose a really important aspect of our humanity. We would lose part of our connection to the web of life, which requires our being born, growing, blooming, declining, and eventually dying. That is part of life. It also allows new life to be. A good death is likely to have very different elements for each of us. As framed by the reading that was written by my colleague, it is likely also deeply connected to how we live, our values, and our priorities. And as I began contemplating a good death, I realized there were two components that I really wanted to discuss today. One is the decline and loss of abilities while living. And the second is actual mortality, when we will cease to be in this form that we recognize. Dr. Atul Gawande is a surgeon, author, and was the director of the United States Agency for International Development, or USAID, until it was dismantled. He shares these questions in his book, Being Mortal: Medicine and What Matters in the End. 1, what does a good day look like? Now, I know we all have different answers to that question, right? But it's important to know what that is and not assume we know what it is for someone else, because we don't. 2, what is your understanding of where you are and your illness? Many patients think they have decades, think a treatment's going to give them a cure or decades. And while the median is not for everyone, there is always that tail of possibility. It's really important to know where you are in that process and when you are going to literally have to make medical history for it to be curative. And that isn't always apparent. Your understanding of where you are and of your illness. What are your fears and worries for the future? When I've had these conversations, I can tell you I have never been right. What I expected someone would say and what is actually shared are never the same. I'm always surprised, even people I've known dearly and intimately. People's fears change over time, their perspectives change over time, and unless we ask, we will not know. What are your goals and priorities? What outcomes are unacceptable to you? And what are you willing to sacrifice or not? I find this is a really powerful framework for the concerns of declining health and facing suffering and mortality. These questions help us center the values and the priorities of the person who is actively facing complex medical situations and mortality. And then can we have the courage to ask them for ourselves? And then we can initiate those conversations with those we love. I may think I have 20 years. I really have today. I don't know that I have tomorrow. And when we can face our mortality, then we can free ourselves to fully live in this moment, right now. And it gives us the opportunity to ground those values and priorities of use whatever remaining time we may have with a deep sense of meaning, depth, poignancy, and to leave a legacy of love. My favorite story he shared was of a music teacher who, while actively dying from cancer, named she wanted to continue to teach. And she did, with accommodations. There were some canceled appointments. And yet, as her death neared, she was able to attend a recital of all the students she had taught during this time and beam. That was her vision of life. And some of her former students who had long since grown up and moved away were able to come and participate in her living legacy. And the process wasn't easy. And she was well-resourced, both in society and with the support available. She chose to ground her dying in her living. Those lessons may be the only time of the day she was able to function. It took a lot, but she knew how she wanted to spend her time. And it ended up inviting acceptance, peace, grief for herself and for those who loved her. He also shares stories where that didn't happen and where patients died, still suffering, and lost some ability to actively live with the depth of their final days. And they didn't get to live as fully as possible through their life. Patient stories where the face of decline or death, where people chased those cures, felt out of a need to continue to do something. And tragically, their loved ones sometimes describe later not really understanding where they were in that course or having the benefit of the quality of time with their loved ones until after treatment. This isn't an issue that was a problem for our ancestors. In history, from time of diagnosis to death was days to weeks for vast majority of people. Like tuberculosis was the exception, right? As we've developed the ability to find things, we've expanded that time dramatically. And that's not bad, but we need to move in that space with intentionality. For the decline aspect, people facing their loss of agency with over-medicalization of their aging and facing frailty, feel they lose that moment to be able to live their lives fully. The comparison of medical model nursing homes and that make aging a disease, centering efficiency, management, profit, and safety metrics over agency, versus supportive models where in assisted living we're preserving autonomy, privacy, and the opportunity to build community in living our lives as the central themes is huge. And the difference in experience is also huge. And there is a wide range of access to this type of supportive model in the Chestertown community. This congregation has had loved ones move through both models. In pastoral care conversations, they're usually about autonomy, not individualism autonomy, but to be the authors of our lives. The desire to be the author of our life is a deep and powerful part of meaning making. I viscerally felt my body resonate when Dr. Guane said, "For the first time I can remember, I did not fear reaching this phase of life," as he was visiting someone in a supportive assisted living model where people's autonomy was preserved. And they lived in joy, with support, with limitations, and in joy. And it made me wonder, maybe it isn't so much mortality we fear, but losing the ability to be authors of our story. Actually, it's losing the ability to live. And a poem that has carried me through hard times seemed to resonate. Invictus by William and Ernest Henley was also reported to be Nelson Mandela's favorite poem, and I felt that would be particularly appropriate on the last Sunday of Black History Month. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the blundering chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate or how charged the punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. So returning to that reading I opened with from Rev. Karen, the questions of how long a notice we would want for death lets us ponder, inviting us to reflect on what actions would preserve our ability to be the author of my story, the captain of my soul, even in that final chapter. Many of us here are or were caregivers, and it is a sacred act. Asking hard questions, accompanying people through changes, advocating as needed, and balancing safety and autonomy. It is amazing and complicated work of head and heart, ears and hands. We here can hold each other's stories, hearts and heartbreak, as we do this sacred work. Transitioning to that we will decline, from decline to mortality. There are many ways people make meaning of that ceasing to exist. Today, right here and right now, is all we have. Some believe in a next life, an afterlife, or a reincarnation. Some are content to let the mystery be. Others take the position of radical acceptance. And some will be surprised. So in conclusion, I ask again, what does a good death mean? For me, at least, it means embracing the fact of my mortality and enjoying the sweetness of each moment with growing compassion and living our days with deep meaning and love. A good death brings us into full connection with the interdependent web of life, honoring the cycle of birth, growth, bloom, and decline. It is a final act that celebrates our life. Accepting our mortality empowers us to set the conditions for a good death and to live as much life as possible, and in the end, have our death be about our life. Let's make it beautiful. I invite us to rise in body or spirit and join our voices in singing hymn 6, Just as Long as I Have Breath. Thank you each for sharing these beautiful stories that we can hold in community. This is the sacred work that we do. And so, as usual, I'll close with our closing words. May we go forth from this place with our calm and open hearts, make peace and grow in wholeness, live in integrity with the spirit of life within ourselves and all living things, being fully present to each moment of this one wild, wonderful life.
And now let's extinguish our chalice with the new words today that are written in your order of service. Spirit of life and love, be with us at all times. May our turning to face mortality, that of those we love and our own, be a passage to the living days of our life more fully and with more meaning. May we live with ease, may we die with ease. And now join us for coffee and conversation. And I do want to mention that our presentation after church will be on Zoom. So we're going to leave Zoom on for that. And we invite everyone to stay.
The postlude is the prelude in B minor, opus 28, number 6, also by Chopin. According to the historical record, it would have been one of the last pieces he played. It's also one of his most well-loved. Its nickname is Tolling Bells.